Congratulations.
To these guys, here's to the next 10 years. The Pops 4-way event is waiting for you. These pretty young, these guys still. So,
who knows? Maybe they're gonna quit their jobs and try to go for the very top now.
Oh, I could tell you about all the conversations we've had about that, But yeah, well.
Solly Williams. Haven't seen you in a long time. What are you studying?
I'm studying. I've just been handed this fantastic book. That's I guess just I think in German it says that it's a 10-year impression.
Is it all in German?
I think so, yeah. Except for the first page. There's a little tribute to me, which is in English, and so I'm just glazing through it for the very first time right now. And it's quite emotion sort of
let's show this to them.
Inspiring. Yeah.
Actually, I brought this from the World Cup from Germany for Solly because it's a book about the 10-year anniversary of the German forward team Paratexar. They put this together, and it's quite amazing now with stories, a history of the team. And it is a 10-year history.
Right, yeah, and there's different phases of it. I'm seeing there's sort of different phases of the 10-year, right from the very beginning, and a little bit of background on the team, and yeah, it's a nice trip down memory lane. Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's you, Solly, you have kind of brought them from the very beginnings, more or less, to where they are now, and they just won the bronze medals at the World Cup in Germany, which was, did you expect anything like this, possibly?
I couldn't make it to the World Cup this year, but we had quite a bit of conversation leading up to it, and also during the meet itself. And yes, we knew that there was certainly a chance. They had a very light training year. Extremely light due to different sort of situations within the team, but they were in the hunt for sure. But they obviously had to deliver at a crucial time. And I think when you have a light training year, you don't really. It's hard to say how you're going to come out the gates. Maybe you're just a little erratic. Maybe you're a little nervous or whatever. So I think this is just what a fantastic sort of gift to themselves at the end of a 10-year.
Were you in touch actually during the meet?
Yeah, there was a few emails going backwards and forwards, and I to be honest with you, I did very little other than just try and, before the meet started, and when they were one round down, I kept on reminding them, think round 10, think this meet is going to get won or lost right in the very end, and you got to start preparing for it now mentally, etc., and treat every jump like it's a competition. Cut it away when it's done. And so more just sort of the coaching, positive approach to it. And also I said, if there was anything I could try to encourage them with, was not to come out conservative with any round. You just got to let it all hang out. And
they said that. I remember a conversation with them in Germany at the World Cup, and they said exactly that. Now, if they want to have a chance to win, they have to push it.
Right. I mean, some of the best skydives are not necessarily always the smoothest, and it's just the way the sport's developed. And so I think if I could have just been a little bit of a positive influence in that direction, yeah. And they thanked me afterwards. I think they were very warm in that regard, and so I'm glad.
Yeah, they did not actually fire you. There was actually a pretty good reason for why you were not in Germany at that point in time. Solly, what?
Yeah, I think that I had a chance to go to the CISM World Meet in Brazil just prior to the World Cup with the Qataris, as you know, I'm coaching them.
Okay.
So I went to Brazil, and my wife was heavily pregnant, so I didn't want to do Brazil and then straight up World Cup behind that. So that is the reason.
So I'm going to lift this now. So Solly just had his second baby a few days ago, actually, right? When was it exactly?
It was the 22nd of August.
Congratulations
Thank you so much,
to both of you.
Yeah, it's a little premature. He was actually meant to arrive right now, which would have been sort of right over the German nationals that's on the go. and that was another opportunity. I had been asked to go there too, but that was never going to happen. So yeah, everything's going fantastic in that department too. Thank you.
Congratulations again. Do you think that they will need help now in Germany?
Well, the emails have been going backwards and forwards again over the last week or so, because obviously Dieter has had a sort of an imposition with his health, and I hope you're doing a lot better, Dieter. I know it's a tough time. So the decision was, if they wanted to honour to the German Federation and still try and look competitive and win, who they should use as an alternate, etc. I was offered the opportunity. As a clash of events for me. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have done that. Mm-hmm. That would have been such a cool thing for me to do. But and of course, I looked at the scoreboard overnight. I don't know what's going on today, and you probably do. I don't. But
they haven't jumped yet. Oh, they're getting ready now for round 6.
So I looked at the scoreboard late last night, and I was so happy to see Final Four's performance as well, because I've coached those guys for a few years. And Max, who's on the national team, obviously has been coaching them in Germany. So compliments to Max too. I think he should stop coaching them during the meet though, because they're right on his ankles. So yeah.
The situation is right now, actually we have done 5 rounds, and they took advantage of the fast sequence. They like the fast sequences, but all the other rounds are even.
It looks a little bit slow. From here on, there's a couple of slow ones, so I thought, it's going to be a little bit of a mental strength requirement there to, lose by 1 or pick up 1 and not feel like you're doing poorly on those jumps. And they have to remember that they've gone through quite a big change. Points gone to outside centre. Mm-hmm. They pick up a new member with minimal, if any, training, and so it definitely upsets rhythm.
You have also another team that you've been working with, or some parts of them at least, in the mixed fours, Remscheid.
Yes, yeah. It's nice to see what. I mean, isn't the scoreboard impressive?
It's very impressive.
I mean, look at there's a composite of the 8-way guys. The female teams came in. It's very, very impressive. That's the other takeaway I had from the scoreboard last night, was just to see the depth of experience there.
Yeah, maybe Germany is beginning to keep up with the United Kingdom, and only the US scores are probably higher as a field on the top.
Yeah, I mean there's can't remember exactly, but it was 4 teams.
4 teams, usual suspects with Dennis Pratt, by the way.
Right, yes. And you know what, I thought I saw his picture in there, and I was like, no, he can't be there.
Well, it's not Dennis. It's probably not that easy for him, because they're doing the right-hand pattern.
Right.
All of a sudden he's in the left-hand pattern. There.
That was, they're so talented at that level. I was... that I'm sure the skills won't hold them back, but I bet it's a little fun test to maybe
he's
out of
never in his life done a right-hand pattern.
Right.
I would guess.
Yeah, true, because Dennis is a little bit less experienced, so it's probably a bit new. But maybe being less experienced helps. Maybe he doesn't care about which way he goes. We care because we used to go one way all the time, or I don't know.
Well, if you've eaten your soup your whole life only with the right hand, and
then
I don't know.
We'll have to look at the jumps and review that.
It seems to be quite exciting out there now. So it's interesting that we get the opportunity to talk about it right now, actually.
I'm sure even these guys are enjoying themselves, because all of a sudden, they come off a World Cup bronze medal, and now they're on home turf defending their title, and of course there's some pride involved there. So, you can't. There's no real excuses. You can't say, oh, we have an alternate. No, at the end of the day, you creep, you practice, you talk about it, and then you go and try and execute. So.
And it's an interesting timing again, because they started to jump in 2001 as a team, and it's a 10-year anniversary, bronze medal, at that time, after 10 years. So what does that tell us actually about success of a team?
I don't know if I've ever mentioned it with you before, but Dr. Carl Eric from the Norgies, he was sort of a real sports fundy, and He told me one thing at one stage. He was a keen tennis player, and he said that there's been a study on sports and successful sports people, and generally the cycle is about 10 years to achieve the pinnacle of your success. Mm-hmm. So in other words, even in like the world of tennis or golf or it normally takes about 10 years. So you start 15, you're probably going to succeed at 25 in other different sports out there. So in our sport, which is obviously team orientated, it's understandable that it could take 10 years to achieve a medal at international level. So I think that's just the icing on the cake for them that they got it, you know.
So then, in other words, also we don't have a lot of teams actually who do stay together for such a long time. Hayabusa,
right?
They're getting there.
Absolutely.
The French team has shown it after 8 years or so. You
Yeah.
know, they're at the peak of their career. At 10 years, they will still be there at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think in four-way, if you can keep 3 people together, then in essence it's still rolling. The momentum is so strong. It's not 75% with 3 people. I always felt it's like 85. Yeah. So I think that's the success of Hayabusa example on that.
And the French.
And the French, and obviously even in past air speeds, although sometimes they've had to go through sort of 50% changes, which is a little tougher. So I mean, this is a beautiful book. I'm certainly looking forward to looking through it some more and cherishing it. And it's a great story. I'm so glad. I can't remember exactly when I became involved with the team, but I remember it was like they came to me and they said, "Okay, we want to try win nationals," and I sort of had to put some realistic sort of ideas into it, saying, "Well, guys, you have to beat Spieli and all the famous German guys, and what do they average?" And it's like, okay, so you want me to try and train you up at 100 jumps and you've got to improve your average by 3? I was like, it probably isn't going to happen unless we could just let it all hang out. And that's kind of the way we always approach it with this team. We're very gung-ho. They're very talented individuals, not only in skydiving but in their own individual lives as well. And so it's a fantastic walk with them that I've had.
Little review of the rest of the World Cup. There was not only Germany, there were some other teams.
Yes. All right.
So, what did you think? Did it all fall in place the way you expected it, or any?
I think again back to the French team hanging on to their 85% of their previous team. Obviously, Manu did a great job picking up his game.
Manu.
Manu did a fantastic job there. So my compliments to him. Hayabusa, in a little bit of in their defence, they come straight from Brazil, which is where I was at, and they geared into a different kind of meet there. And I didn't think they would have much of a competition in Brazil, but there were some surprises down there too. And all of a sudden they had to perform. And then a week or two later, the gearing of the competition's a bit different. I'm sure it's a distraction, So, but the takeaway is I think they tied around or won around, and that means that I think the French really improved their performance dramatically, and so I'm sure they're looking at it. I'm sure they're going back to the drawing board and going, okay, I think to win a meet you've got to at least be able to say you can win 4 or 5 rounds. You don't have to win them all, but so I'm sure they're going to have to look at that, approach that from that angle. And I would love. It's a pity SB couldn't have been there. Obviously, it is nice for Germany that they weren't, and the history books will obviously remember that. But at the end of the day, I think the French SB and Hayabusa, they are going to have a mudslinging match every time they meet from now onwards. So
we're going to see SB soon at the Nationals. At
least
we'll see that.
Do you think the French are going to be there?
No, I don't think so.
No, okay.
Everybody was hoping that they would meet each other in Dubai, but now we have the SB situation.
Well, come on, France and Hayabusa, let's see you at the US Nationals.
Come on, USPA, send them to Dubai. It goes on both sides.
I agree. I don't want to say my 2 cents on that. It's a bit weird, but
sad no matter what. Now that they don't see.
Yeah, that is a little strange. But
what about 8-way? Did you follow that a little bit and the female event, or?
Yes, I stayed abreast with it all. I don't think any sort of major surprises in the female category. The French team, I said it before with you, was blown away by the pickups at the Shamrock already. I mean, I thought they, with the minimal training that they did and whatever, they were strong already. So we all thought, wow, they're going to have a 50% change. Life's going to be tough there, and but they just, they're doing fantastic, and so that's going to be a tough team.
You saw Laurence at the SISM meet, then I guess.
Yes,
right?
I did. Yes, so she had to come off a SISM system as
they
well.
They played second there, didn't they, in the female?
Yes, yeah, they got second behind US, and then it was I'm trying to think, Brazil got third, I think, and then China. Yeah. So I'm sure that is a little adjustment for her, but.
Interesting. I didn't even know, earlier, before I learned the team and the new members, I didn't know she was on the SISM lineup.
I think the Russian girls are going to be strong. I don't know what their training program is, but we all know that they're a super talented group of people as well. So
there were only, I looked at the penalty situation, and there were only 1 point actually behind the pace, the French pace, after 6 rounds.
Okay.
1 point pace. Now they were like 11, 12 points behind on the.
So they just got to clean that up, and when they're in the game, and then we know that there's nations out there that have sort of strong lineups that haven't quite come together. The UK can always field an extremely strong female team, and obviously the US.
They seem to have trouble to get a lineup so far.
Well,
and the UK, I haven't heard anything.
The UK have had a fine run in the female category, so I'm sure they're just having a breather. Maybe they'll regroup. Maybe there's some sort of new blood coming in and whatever. But there's a sort of a wealth of experience there in the female category. And the 8-way, what a tussle that was. That is fantastic. I wish I could have been there to watch that too. That is awesome. It was really nice to see the coverage of it. And
we'll probably see that again next year. That's a similar race. I cannot imagine. Difficult to imagine that any of those two teams will move away. But from the other one, significantly.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's a little trickier in the 8-way to bridge a gap like that. But that kind of reminded me of the old days when there was when an infringement in the 8-way almost always was a 4-pointer, because the confusion and people getting on and off, and they would like to have a 3-point lead in 8 or a 4-point lead. It wasn't over. Mm-hmm. But then in recent years, whoever's in the front sort of seems to pull away, and that's it. But this meet was fun. It was like neck and neck, and it was round for round, and good fight, guys.
Hopefully we see it soon again. 8-way will probably take a little while until, I don't think the French 8-way team is going to they were planning this earlier, but I don't think it's happening to the US nationals.
No.
And so that'll take a little while. Now 8-way in Dubai, so the next 8-way will be at some point next year, I guess.
Yeah.
But they wanna compete with each other, they said. So they're trying to find an opportunity for that earlier. BK said. Shamrock,
you're doing 8-way.
All right, well, we'll think about it.
I guess it's an option. I mean, you never know if some of them are training out here again or whatever.
Well, if they're asking for it, I wouldn't mind having the two best 8-way teams here for a little confrontation.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if Norway does an 8-way again this time round.
What about Russia? 8-way.
To be honest with you, I don't really know enough about what's going on in their camp with who's sort of spearheading that, because they always, you and I have joked behind how many times they swap out internally inside the group and whatever. Is this team staying together?
Nobody knows.
Yeah, so that's hard to say. And that seems to be the mode in Russia. There's a lot of inter-team changing, etc. And back to this success. Stay together for that long. Mm-hmm. Eventually.
Well, 3 of them have been together.
And that
so that makes it 80%.
It does, and depending on who they have in that 4th slot makes a big difference. Right. And of course they have to train with that person as well. Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's a lot of information already, Sully. I think we'll let you go back to babies and wives and
home renovating right now.
And work around the corner too. Thank you very much for taking the time, and congratulations.
To these guys, here's to the next 10 years. The Pops 4-way event is waiting for you. These pretty young, these guys still. So.
Who knows? Maybe they're going to quit their jobs and try to go for the very top now.
I could tell you about all the conversations we've had about that, But well, they've been very successful in their own right. Thank you.
Sully, thanks.
Good to talk to you.